So the IPL started in 2008, but for a long period of time, we never really felt that the Indian players were carrying the tournament. We always relied on the foreigners to come and entertain us. But if you have noticed in the last few years, the paradigm is shifting. In 2022, the IPL expanded to a 10-team tournament. And if you remember, even in 2022, it felt difficult for teams to have enough Indian talent, and you could see that teams were struggling to find quality Indian players. But what has changed in the last 2 or 3 years that now come to 2026, teams do not require foreign players and are comfortable playing just 2 or 3 foreigners. There are a lot of explanations for this, but mine is the introduction of domestic T20 leagues. I call it the backbone of the IPL, and all the talent that we see in the IPL and gets applauded internationally, a lot of credit should go to these domestic leagues. So let us talk about them today. Currently, we've got 12 active leagues. Some of them might not have happened this year, but more or less they have happened in the last 2 years or so. And I'm pretty sure some of you might be knowing a few of these tournaments, but did you know that there was a Madhya Pradesh Premier League, an Uttar Pradesh Premier League, an Andhra Premier League, even the TG20 in Telangana? There are so many. In fact, the first ever T20 league, which was not the IPL, was the Tamil Nadu Premier League, which started I think in 2016 or about 9 years back. And since then, this has grown into a movement across different states. And the good thing that I find here is that all of these leagues are run by the state associations and they do not require much of a funding from the BCCI, which is quite good and also shows how strong the cricketing infrastructure is in India, that every single state can run its own team for the BCCI run tournament, which is the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and still independently run their own league and accommodate so many teams and players for an independent tournament. So you have to applaud that. And what I like here is also the fact that most of them have found a window to play their tournament in without affecting the calendar of the BCCI. There's no schedule issue here. So you've got 12 states and over 360 matches that happen every year in these leagues. And why are these leagues so important for the IPL? You see that every single league over here has got a lot of talent, and most of this talent doesn't come to the IPL directly. They get some sort of nurturing in these leagues, and you also got good quality coaches and managements running the teams in these tournaments. So it helps to kind of give a first opportunity to any player, and then they are scouted by the IPL teams and then they move forward. So this is kind of a stepping stone in their career, which is a great platform to have. And why do I call it the IPL Talent Bank? It is obvious. IPL teams are actively scouting in these tournaments now. The Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy used to be the premier tournament where the IPL scouts were found, but it no longer is. Now these scouts roam around the different leagues across India and find talent from there. Here are a few examples of players who have risen from these leagues and gone on to play in the IPL. You got Priyansh Arya, Digvesh Rathi, Vipraj Nigam, Ashwani Kumar. These are a few recent ones. Also, way back in the days, you had Shivam Dubey from T20 Mumbai and Sai Kishore from the Tamil Nadu Premier League. Also, T. Natarajan, Abhinav Manohar, Vaishak, Vijay Kumar, Samir Rizvi. There's so much talent here. And these are just a few names that I could think of at the top of my head. And there are obviously so many. Even Varun Chakravarti, if you remember, and Washington Sundar, all of them have had some sort of contribution through these leagues, which is quite a great thing, and there's so many more coming every single year. And this has kind of become a factory and a gift that keeps on giving to the IPL. So, why this matters, and this is a very important point, because this acts as a complementary system to the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. It is not here to replace the Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and that is exactly why the BCCI don't really have a problem with all of these independent leagues, because this ensures that the Indian players keep on getting the exposure, and they get match practice throughout the year, and they play competitive cricket without any off season. And this paired with the Mushtaq Ali Trophy is a great duo, because as you know, the Indian players are not allowed to play in foreign leagues. So this ensures that they still do not miss out on exposure that other players might be getting in playing across the world. So India, the quality is obviously there with so much of population, and these leagues being organized in somewhat of a structural way ensures that they still get world class exposure and they're not left behind. The only downside that I see is that all of these tournaments are played in India, and in the last couple of years at least, the difference between conditions in India is diminishing. You get more or less the same type of flat decks and small boundaries, so that difference in conditions which you need to adopt to when you play outside of India is missing with some of the players, and that is the only downside I see here. But I feel that with the quality that they're playing with and the kind of brains that are helping them in the background, I still feel it can be sorted out in the future. And what I like and what everyone also sees is that the players who come out of this system of playing the leagues, they're no longer overawed by the occasion when they play in the IPL. You've seen Vaibhav Suryavanshi, we've seen Samir Rizvi, and so many other examples. Players just come out, even Ashutosh Sharma for that matter, come out first ball, hit a six, they don't care anymore. And if you remember a few years back, the Indian players used to play to build their reputation and to kind of secure their career. They used to play for survival, but they no longer do that, because all of these opportunities that they get, they don't play it as a charity, they get money for it, and it helps them secure their career. So even without playing IPL, most of the Indian players still make a living out of just cricket. So they're no longer reliant on the opportunities that they get in the IPL to kind of settle in their life. They're already settled, so all they need to do is come out and impress, which has really freed the Indian players in the last couple of years, and you'll see that have an effect in the future as well. So another thing is, as I mentioned before, it's a stepping stone. Players were too raw to directly represent the state teams and even IPL teams. They used to miss out earlier, and they used to not have another opportunity a tier below that, but that has been provided with these leagues. So even if the talent is raw but they have a unique proposition to offer, they get an opportunity in the leagues, and there they are somewhat nurtured, and maybe a few flaws are pointed out to them. Whatever are their strengths, the coaches help them and guide them, and they improve, and then they can go on to other leagues and the state leagues, then the IPL. So all of that happens only because they get the opportunity at the very basic level, and that is this tournament. So I like that these leagues give a platform for the raw players to also shine, and a platform for the IPL scouts or the state associations to kind of find talent within their states. So you can clearly see that I am very, very positive and affirmative about this system, but I still do have a few suggestions to improve the system even further. So, since the leagues are all run by the state boards, which are under the scrutiny of BCCI, there's no third party involved, there's no privatization as of now. I feel that the BCCI has some power, some leverage to create a CLT20 style league here within India, where they can include the winners of each of the tournaments. I think there are enough tournaments to get about, I mentioned 12 leagues, but these are the ones that have happened in the last year. But there are a few more which have been abandoned, which can be revived, and then maybe expand this to about 16 teams. So 16 leagues, 16 winners will come out and play here in one CLT20 set tournament. So it will be very exciting, and the BCCI can obviously own it if they want and have a split, obviously. But then the advantage I see it having is that there are no overlapping players, because right now there's no system where players from other states come in and play. In T20 Mumbai, you have got all players from just Mumbai. Similarly, in every single league, they're all local players. So that problem is resolved, and all you need to do is find a window for this, and it should not impact the rest of the domestic schedule, especially the longer formats, because that is still a priority. But this can be used to kind of build a fan connection, which I feel that the BCCI lacks on a domestic level. It is not impossible to do it, but I don't think they have ever tried to. Even all the Syed Mushtaq Ali games are played behind closed doors most of the times. They're not even broadcast properly, and it just feels like they do it for the sake of it. So this tournament might just help them get back some of the fans and build a connect with them, which they do not do in other leagues. And it will also help with the leagues to kind of establish themselves and grow larger audience and earn more money, because at the end of the day, the state associations want to earn more money. That is why they are staging such leagues. The exposure the players get and all of that is secondary, and it is a byproduct, but they majorly want to create another source of revenue. So this will help with that as well. And another thing is, when you have such a structure in place and a bit more regulation from the BCCI, it will help reduce the chances of any casualties in the integrity of the leagues. We know such small leagues with not a lot of eyeballs, there are chances of a bit of money laundering, match fixing, and a lot of other issues. So this will also help prevent that. So this is my proposal. It might not happen in the immediate future, but I feel as the T20 format is becoming mainstream, and it is definitely the format right now. And as you can see, most of the Indian players also prefer playing T20s. I feel why not leverage that and create a system where you are at least bringing out the best of players and also helping the state boards. I just wish that we are not too driven by the T20 format and still focus a bit more on the other two formats, not just for India, but in the global scene as well, because at the end of the day, whatever India does will be followed across the world, such as the impact they have. So I hope India prioritizes the ODI format and the test format a lot. Even though the T20 game is where the money is, your heart should still stay with the rest of the formats. So with that, I hope you guys learned something new here and got to know my perspective. I hope that BCCI works on this a bit, and I sincerely hope that this format doesn't die, and it's a great way to give exposure to young players while also being a revenue stream for the boards. So thank you guys, and until next time, stay safe.
Stadium mein shor hai, energy on the floor hai. This is the unfiltered feed. The unfiltered feed.